Part 2 of Emotional Affair Outside. You were right there with me Saturday. Yes, he shouldn't be fooling around with a married woman, however. She never told him she was married until very recently. That is one thing we argued about quite often over the past several months. You should mention that you are married, then I'll feel like a fool if he doesn't have any interest. If he shows interest, I'll tell him I'm married. A few weeks ago, after she was having her panic attacks, she told me that she had told him she was married. She was very frightened by the panic attacks and fully thought she was going to pass. She has made several changes, and probably told him as one of those. By that point, the man had invested months and way too many hours in her. Also, by the huge amount of time she had invested with him. She was telling him that he was more important to her than her marriage. I have hated that man for months. I served about 10 years in the Marine Corps Reserve and the infantry. I imagined using every sort of close combat skill on that man, however. As my head starts to clear, I kind of feel sorry for him. He was misled. True, the past couple of weeks, he has known she was married, however. Her actions and probably words, definitely now, but probably before, told him her marriage was just on paper and her heart belonged to him. Another reason I feel sorry for him is his unusual responses Saturday night. You even said weird when we were discussing it. He may have some mental issues. I surely don't understand why he would have reacted in the way that he did. Those are the reasons I think being kind and respectful with him would be the way to go. Also, what harm could I do him? Of course, I could do physical harm, but that would be foolish. It wouldn't help anything and just put me in jail. He appears to be a single man. He has to be actually. No woman would allow her man to spend so much time playing spades with another woman. A pushover doormat like me might allow his wife too. But I don't see any woman allowing her man to do that. Therefore, there is no relationship that I could bring harm to by exposing him on his end. It's very strange that I feel this way. But my head seems clearer today than in a very long time. I have exposed the affair to her family. I told her Saturday night. I am filing for divorce Monday morning. The only way that won't happen is if you end this thing in my presence and have no future contact with that man. If you choose to go with him, rest assured that my children will not go. They will never see that man, let alone be raised by him. She knows I meant it. She is very angry that I told her parents and brother. She is also very angry that I would threaten to take her kids away. I told her that I am not taking them away. She is leaving them. If she wants to put herself at risk with this man, that is her choice. But she will not put my children at risk. When I mentioned divorce with me getting full custody of the children because of her adultery, I believe that hit home for her. She very well may try to take this underground. She knew she was risking her marriage by this affair anyway. I don't think she thought it through that she was also risking her children. I printed the screen prints of some of her most damaging comments and left it on the kitchen table yesterday. She knows I have proof of her infidelity and the divorce is not an empty threat. I have a whole book from their conversation. I need no further evidence if I choose to go for a divorce. I will install the keylogger. I check daily the phone records. I check daily the search logs on the computer. She obviously doesn't know how to delete them because I saw some last night. I took a picture of them. They were from before this latest confrontation. If you say I shouldn't say those things to that man, I will take your word. There are several reasons for me to doubt his mental capacity. 1. This whole affair took place on a public forum where anyone could see it. 2. Many of his responses Saturday night were just plain weird. My wife is talking about kissing and he goes to fishing. What's up with that? 3. When she told him it was over, he said that would be his last game of spades and this was going to hurt. He also said, I understand, it's okay. I'm used to it. That is the reason I was going to be kind to him. I may still have the wool pulled over my eyes, but I believe he was an innocent victim until very recently. Her actions strongly implied that she was an available woman, also. There is nothing I could threaten on his end. The phone call probably wouldn't do any good anyway. I already told him a week ago online to stay away from my wife. He didn't listen then. So why should I expect him to listen if it's over the phone? Now, she had mentioned Saturday night getting a prepaid phone. I strongly suspect that she still has access to his phone number somewhere. Either written or in her mind, she already had a plan to get the prepaid phone to call him secretly. I don't see any way to guard against that. She wouldn't call him in the house so a voice-activated recorder wouldn't work. She would go on a walk and call him, as she did the one time. There are many hiding places in the house where she could hide it. I will install the keylogger as soon as I get an hour or so alone in the house. I want at least that much time because I am not a computer guru and it will take me longer than some to install it and get everything set up. As far as a polygraph goes, she would certainly be very angry, however. I have the transcripts of her plan to be sneaky on calling him. My question is, how long should I wait to set up a polygraph? 1 month, 2, 3. 1 week. I want to nip it in the bud if it is occurring, but I don't want to jump the gun. Oh, he made me take a polygraph. He believes me now. So I can call my boyfriend. I think even if it goes underground, it will fizzle. This very well may be wishful thinking on my part, however. She can no longer spend hours chatting with him each night. Her family knows about it. He is thousands of miles away, don't know the exact distance. But a long way. She homeschools the kids, so even if he made the trip to TN, there would be no availability for a meeting. I have the emotional needs questionnaires printed out, sitting on the desk by the computer she used for her affair. I did that weeks ago. When I first confirmed that there was more to it than games, she has not even looked at them. The husband and wife time will be difficult. I have asked her out on dates fairly consistently lately. Actually, even said a night right before I walked out the door. I told her I would rather do something with her. That is what immediately preceded my worst night ever. I did give her a back rub last night. At least she didn't push me away that time. I want to do the 180, but still try to balance meeting her needs. That will be difficult, but I will work very hard on it. Well, day 1 of the 180 didn't go well. I made the mistake last night of asking one question. That set off another argument. Don't keep saying, I love you. Because if you have a brain in your head, she is at this particular moment not very lovable. Be cheerful, strong, outgoing, and independent. Do not argue when they tell you how they feel. It only makes their feelings stronger. In fact, refuse to argue at all. Learn to back off, keep your mouth shut, and walk away when you want to speak out. No matter what the provocation, no one ever got themselves into trouble by just not saying anything. I failed on these notes. These 180 things aren't as easy as it may sound. She thinks I am holding the transcripts over her head. If she doesn't do everything I want, I'll run to the divorce attorney and attempt to take her kids. I should have never mentioned that I have the transcripts. Keep a clear head. Stop talking. You are telling your wife far too much. Very true. I did spend time with her, at least in the same room as her. She cooked a wonderful supper and we ate together as a family. That has been a very rare occurrence for quite a long time. She would usually go up and play the computer when I got home. She does homeschool the kids, so I always thought I was being thoughtful for taking over when I got home at night. We did the dishes together and shared a couple of cigarettes together. I gave her a back rub while she played a game, not spades. On the computer, then, I asked one question that led to another argument. My wounds are too deep and fresh to discuss anything about this issue. That is the power of the 180. She needs some space and I do as well. I will try to continue spending time with her. Improving myself. Searching for him on the sly, watching the records, etc. But the thing I need to do is not to discuss this at all for now. The keylogger is not in place. She stays at home, so I have had no opportunity to set it up. I know. You more computer system literate folks could do it in 5 minutes. However, I don't want to be in the middle of installing it and her walk in. It would take me longer than it would most of you. I can't practice on my work computer because I don't have access. However, the online game is no longer available. He told her when she told him it was over that would be his last game of spades. They have been foolish enough to have this entire affair online. Her doormat husband was easy enough to take care of. It's free. No phone bills. Convenient, and, so they thought, hidden. Why come up with an alternate plan? They were close to an alternate plan. He told her said a night that he hates spades. He only plays to talk to her. I saw all of the chat and they very obviously thought no one was watching. If there was some other form of communication, they would have discussed it then. The only time she was on with him was the time I was home in the evenings. She may very well have his cell phone number still. She may even have his last name. If he didn't give it to her, I don't think she will be able to find it. I have tried many avenues and been unsuccessful so far. At one time, I thought I had found him, but I believe I was mistaken. A phone call to him may confirm whether that name was right or not. It was a Latino man that I found. Maybe it was right, maybe that is why he types so slow. Maybe his English isn't good. Perhaps I will call him to see if this theory holds water. Either way, the one thing in my favor is the distance between them, logistically. It would be very difficult for a meeting. I will load the keylogger at my earliest time alone in the house. I will remain vigilant in watching for another phone to show up. I will work harder on the 180 as well. She had said something that led me to believe either she or he had found my writing here. I needed her to believe I was the doormat still. She did sneak out and buy a prepaid phone. I caught her with it when she got home. She didn't give it to me, and I didn't physically force her to, which is what it would have taken that night. She made an offer the next day. She would let me see the phone if I let her play spades with him. I made sure I was very clear it would be for one night. I got the phone and made an online tracking so I can check the phone calls. There have been no more calls on that phone, however. The just one night turned into every night since tonight. I played the camouflage trick again. I am watching her chat. With a little help from a friend, she has changed her screen name again because people know what's going on. Her chat tonight indicated that she did not know about this. The reasoning for letting her play with him is difficult to explain. Let's just say there was a good reason. She said it would just be friends like it was in the beginning. Again, tonight's chat blows that out of the water. Okay, logger will be in place. I have been working to two-pronged approach. Everything is okay and trying plan A. Keeping up surveillance in the background, obviously. She has no clue she is being watched tonight. She has agreed to a date tomorrow night. Sunday is our daughter's birthday party. My plan for now is to go on the date, while she is getting her bath tomorrow. I will install the keylogger. It hasn't been done yet because I thought they may have already installed one. Paranoid, I guess. We'll go on our date and to our daughter's birthday party on Sunday. Part of me wants to confront her right now about this new evidence. One of the advice was to shut up. That I'm telling my wife too much. Do I just hold this ace up my sleeve for now? My friend will walk me through a way to block this game without it being obvious to her that I did it. Exposure looks like it is a necessary step, I told her father and brother. But she convinced them it was over. Perhaps I should take them tonight's transcripts. Her plan for today is to play with him from 11 to 3 Central Time. They are using different names. They changed to these names yesterday since I was going to be out of town. They are planning on changing back to older names tomorrow so they don't blow their cover. They fully believe the new names have thrown everyone off track. She told him she has to leave at 3, I am supposed to be home at 5 and we're going on a date tonight, tomorrow. We are having a birthday party for our daughter. I will play along for tonight and tomorrow. I will show her what she will be missing by leaving. I expect her to get online tomorrow night. That is when I'll pull the plug. I was planning on putting last night's transcript in front of her. They will go underground, as they have already tried with buying the prepaid phone. I don't have much confidence at this point that this marriage will survive. That is what I'm trying to focus on. My goal is to produce a happy, blissful marriage to my current wife. I have told her this. Right now, I don't like her very much. I have reiterated that our marriage is the best example for our children. How our marriage works out is likely to become how their marriage will work out. Not only would reconciliation be best for them in the short run, but it will also affect the lives of our children for decades. I have come to learn that most people have no good basis for how a marriage is supposed to be. My parents and her parents have been together for over 40 years. However, their relationships leave much to be desired. Longevity isn't the sign of a good marriage. My 13-year marriage, 1 month from today, sure isn't healthy. Our children are 7, son, and our daughters are 9 and 10. I believe I will sit them down tomorrow night after I tell her no more contact with him and tell them what is going on. I'll give her a 5-minute warning and invite her to join the conversation. I'm sure that won't go over well. This weekend went pretty much as expected. I went to my parents' Friday night. I watched her chat with him until about 1:30 in the morning. She set it up with him to chat again from 11 to 3:30 on Saturday. I got some of that before I had to take the kids to a skating party. My niece took over and copied the rest of the transcripts. I haven't seen all of that yet. I hope for my niece's sake it didn't get too ugly. She had to get off the game at 3:30 so she could get ready for our date. It started fairly well. We went to see a movie, however. When we got home, she got online. I yanked the power cord to the modem and gave her the letter I had prepared for Sunday evening. I expected her to get on then. Instead of Saturday night after our date, she went out and called him again. I have the transcripts and the phone records. I told her last night she has 5 minutes and I'm telling the kids about her affair. I sat them down on the couch to tell them. She said, "What you are doing is foolish." I said, "No, what you are doing is foolish." I just told the kids that we both love them very much. I told my wife after that, no contact for life with that man. If there is any contact, the kids get the whole story. If this affair is so wonderful that you absolutely must continue it, then you should want to shout it from the rooftop. The modem is hidden currently. I am debating over whether to just cancel the internet or go with a keylogger. I have the sole access to her cell phone online records. This man threatened to hit a man in the head with a hammer at work because the man touched him. I don't like to be touched. Even after he told her that, she continued her chat with him. I am considering going to the police to file a restraining order against him. He is apparently a violent man and I don't want him anywhere near my family. He has no criminal history. At least my $70 investment didn't find any. However, his chat about hitting a man in the head with a hammer seems to me like I should be able to get a restraining order to protect my family. Is that an option? She hated the fact I told her dad. I told him the day after I witnessed the chat. I told him she ends it that day or we are finished. That is the day she got on and told him it was over. I told him that night that she had ended it. I have not yet disclosed to him that she only went 2 days without contact. She did call her brother and talk to him a while yesterday, of course. I could only hear her side of the conversation. It was clear that he was telling her that it wasn't all me. Of course, she was making me out to be a monster. He wasn't having it and apparently was telling her she was in the wrong. The game is gone. For now, the internet is gone. I'll decide whether to keep it or not as time goes by. The venom spewed last night was indeed horrible. She does not want the kids to know. She also knows that I will tell them if she contacts him again. Maybe I will anyway. She had something she was holding over my head. That threat has been dealt with. She can no longer hold it over my head. One day at a time. I'll ignore the venom for a while and see how it goes. After this weekend, my desire to become a better man has been completely drained. Right now. She hates me. I am taking away her guy. I don't see much I can do at this point except the 180. That and ignore the venomous babble coming out of her mouth. She says I am controlling. Personally, she is much more controlling than I am. I bought a marriage game from Marriage Builders. She won't play that for a while. I'm sure. I am reading Surviving an Affair. I am trying to take one day at a time. I told her sister's husband yesterday. I'm sure he told her on their way home. I do expect her to contact him. Those are some things she enjoyed. I haven't sent her roses in years. I did in the beginning. She is so picky on the roses, though. She was never satisfied. They're not very fresh, etc. I have grown roses, but I haven't kept them up in the past few years. I'll work on the flower bed next weekend. Exposure on his end has started. I called his father's phone number and a lady answered. He has said several things about his family and I don't know what to believe. I didn't ask her relationship. She is either his mother or stepmother. I do know he went there to visit for a week about a month or so ago. So there is a relationship. He had told them he was playing spades with someone. She said she didn't think he knew she was married. I told her I don't know when he found out she was married, but he has known for at least a month. We had a pleasant conversation and she said that she doesn't want to see a marriage broken up. She is going to call him this evening and also talk to her husband. We discussed her moving out. She said, I'm not leaving and you can't kick me out. I don't know where she gets her advice. I suspect the counselor that I'm paying for. But she is fully convinced I cannot kick her out of our house. She did bring up a good point. I am only home a few hours at night before bedtime. She is with the kids all day every day. It's too late in the school year to get the kids enrolled in school right now. If one is to leave, how would it not be better for me to move out? I had packed my bags while she was out on the phone with him. She wasn't in the house. She went for a drive to talk to him. I am about ready to give up on this marriage. Her stubbornness and blatant disregard is very quickly depleting any love for her I have left. Okay, I get it. Moving out is a bad idea. I have exposed to family and friends. Other guy is a single man. So there aren't many to expose to on his end. His dad and stepmother know. He spent a week with them a while back on vacation, so there is some relationship there. He did tell them he had been playing spades with someone. So she, the stepmom that I talked to, knew I wasn't making things up, according to my wife. His stepmom talked to him. He told my wife. She told me, according to her version, The stepmom followed through what she told me she would do. She agreed that she didn't want to see a marriage break up. Since my wife still insists on continuing this thing, I do believe my next step must be to talk to an attorney. She wants to drive out to Colorado to meet him. I keep telling her it is a fantasy. She wants to meet him to see if that is true, of course. Anger took back over as my predominant emotion when she told me this. I said she wants to take it from an E to a PA. She denied this and said she needs to meet him to see what he is really like. She is tired of living in limbo between him and me. Meeting him would give her the information she needs to make a decision. She has already chosen him. That has been painfully obvious for quite a while. Perhaps the reality of seeing that he is not nearly as wonderful in person as he is in her fantasy could squash the whole thing. On the other hand, it would be really easy for him to put on a great show for a couple of days to convince her that he really is a Prince Charming. If there was a physical relationship, the grounds for divorce would be stronger. Currently, it is just an emotional with no physical contact. I strongly believe an emotional affair is worse than most physical affairs. The emotional connection is very strong. A one-night stand would have little to no emotional connection. She is going to meet him, with or without my approval, actually. There is no way I would ever approve it. There is also no way I would ever believe that nothing physical happened. She will deny it, but there will always be that doubt. The only thing I can think of is a polygraph after her trip. As several have said here, my marriage is over. The marriage we have had for almost 13 years is gone. There is still a slight possibility that we can start a new relationship. However, my motivation for that has been decreasing at an ever-increasing pace. Saturday took away all desire to work things out with her. She knows her family disapproves. She knows his family disapproves. She knows the children will be extremely hurt. Yet, she continues in her fantasy. I told her that even if she leaves me for him, their relationship will not last. It is based on fantasy. When reality sets in, it will not survive. Perhaps meeting him is the only way for her to get a glimpse of reality. I packed her bags and told her that she'll need to pack for a lot longer than a few days. If she goes, she is not welcome back. The house is half hers, so I will have to go through a legal separation in order to get her out. That is the direction I'm leaning. Enough is enough. Actually, I should have done that a month ago. I just keep hoping that the pressure from family and friends will open her eyes, however. She just keeps getting more and more stubborn. Yes, there will definitely be consequences that she will not like if she decides to do this. She has thrown the marriage away. She insists on continuing the affair. She insists that she must meet him to see if it is just fantasy. As I have reiterated over and over, my marriage is over and I will be seeking legal separation. She responded extremely well. She said she was sorry that I am going through this. I told her that she is very beautiful and seems very nice. She respects that I decided not to date until the divorce is final. She did mention that I know where she works. If my wife continues on her current path, divorce will be sooner rather than later. Even if she changes her tune now, it may be too far down the road for reconciliation. If divorce does come about and the date girl is still available, my decision to wait until the divorce is final will be a great start to a new relationship. I told her that I was very flattered that she accepted my offer. She made me feel better with her enthusiastic response than I have felt in quite some time. Basically, she left me with an open invitation that is extremely uplifting. Especially since my wife of 13 years is more concerned about her boyfriend she still calls each night and wants to meet. Last night was another bad night. She confessed to kissing another man a few years ago. She says that is all that happened, but at the time she vehemently denied that anything at all had happened. I was drinking a cup of water and threw the water on her. I walked out of the room. She followed me. The kids saw her soaking wet shirt, and I went out for a walk to cool off. Should have done that before throwing the water. I came back to crying kids that were mad at their daddy. I wanted to tell them why I threw the water, but I didn't at that point. I know, get the anger under control. That can't help anything. The pain the kids had last night is still tearing me up. That was over some water on her shirt. I can't imagine the coming pain with a divorce. Why can't she see what she is doing to our children? More iceberg. Do those things actually have a bottom or do they go on forever? That guy was 7 years ago, but the new information makes it fresh as if it happened yesterday. I know it didn't go further than Tunica. She tried her best to find him but couldn't. That is from her sister back when it happened. Which I believe is true. I don't believe it stopped with a kiss in Tunica. But I'll never know the whole truth. That on top of the fact that she wants to meet this current boyfriend. The kids are going to stay at my parents' a few nights. They know what is going on now. My parents, that is. I told my wife a couple of nights ago that we are getting a divorce, and I'm telling the kids when I get back from the store. When I came home, she was on the phone with my mom. She had called her and told her that she had met someone online, and I was planning to tell the kids that night that we were getting a divorce because mommy has a boyfriend. My mom was planning on taking the kids for a few days anyway and said I should wait until they got back. I agreed. They don't need a bomb dropped on them and then be gone a few days. It was later the same night when she admitted kissing another man years ago, and I threw the water on her. I emailed her brother and told him I was ready for divorce. He called her and talked to her for a while yesterday. He called me and talked to me a while on my way home last night. He had some good suggestions. My wife and I talked a little last night. I told her the pain the kids had over the water was horrible and had been eating me alive all day. The pain of a divorce would be 1,000 times greater for them. We both owe it to them to try our best to work this marriage out. It was a busy night getting everything ready for the kids' trip, so there wasn't much talking. We didn't fight, either. I also don't think she called him last night. We'll have time these next few nights to work something out. Her brother suggested something similar to Plan B. That is probably where we're going. He said she told him she would agree to cease contact with her boyfriend during a separation. I think splitting the kids and home may be the way to go. Other than her boyfriend, she is a good mother. I'm thinking about staying at my parents' or brother's through the week, and she gets the kids in house. I get the kids in the house on the weekends. She has to go to her parents' or sisters. No communication between us and someone else being there for the transitions. TN is a no-fault state, according to the attorney I talked to, even with a divorce. That is likely how things would work out. If she'll agree to no contact with her boyfriend during the separation, it may bring her to reality. If she just continues her nightly phone calls, it will just bring her closer to him. Our fighting every night cannot continue. We'll see how these next few days go. Sorry I have rambled. My comment. Part 3 coming today as well. I'm finishing it up after my lunch. And remember to love yourself.